love for your money. If you need a good place to eat and you want a good environment to support the community and support the effort of the Jackson community, I recommend Stamps Super Burger to you because, like I said,
Okay, so how long have you been coming to Stamps?
since 1987. I've forever loved Stamps Burgers because the people, they're real people. They help the community and their family own and operate. And the food, the quality, and service has always been phenomenal. And anywhere I'm at, I always recommend people to them. It's great food and you get enough love for your money. If you need a good place to eat and you want a good environment to support the community and support the effort of the Jackson community, I recommend Stamps Super Burger to you because, like I said,
Let's go!
Hey, it's time to hydrate.
Best kept secret in sports, no longer a secret.
Hello everyone, I am for sellers. I use my skills of the market to prepare your home to sell in a timely manner. For buyers, my expert advice positions you to purchase real estate in your desired area. And for investors, I use my knowledge of the area to find the perfect property for you to make your next investment. I am ready to serve you.
If you're looking for quality seafood with friendly service, then the Fish Shack is the place for you. We're fast, fresh, and convenient, and ready to serve you today. You can order online and come in, or pick up your food curbside. We have outdoor seating as well. Need something to cool your taste buds? We have tasty daiquiris that you're sure to love. So come see us today at the Fish Shack in Byram, where we have great seafood and good daiquiris.
It's Pink Friday 2021, and here's a message from one of our survivors.
Hello, I'm Robin Roberts, and I am happy to join the American Cancer Society in the fight against breast cancer. As a breast cancer survivor and proud Mississippi native, I'm honored to support Pink Friday, a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. We all have a part to play in this fight, and by working together, one day we are determined to find a cure for breast cancer. Get your tickets now to support this wonderful event.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Hey, it's time to hydrate.
Best kept secret in sports, no longer a secret.
Like it's.
And welcome into the pregame show. We are live from Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium. My cohort Neely. It is the pregame show. It is Texas Southern Jackson State today. Looking forward to a very spirited contest today. This Texas Southern Tiger football team, they are another tough foe that we must get ready for. Looking forward to today, Neely.
Beautiful day at the vet as we recognize and celebrate vets. Did you see how I did that, Chuck?
I see.
You know, Veterans Day is next Thursday, the 11th, and we have a road game that following weekend. So we're recognizing veterans today at this game. It's going to be a veterans game, man. I hear there's going to be a flyover, y'all.
Hey, I'm looking forward to that flyover.
There's going to be a flyover. There's going to be a huge flag at halftime. There's going to be a special entrance to the field. We're wearing black today. The team is in black uniforms, asking players and fans and everyone else to wear black to the game. We're here at the vet, Chuck. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors this week, man. Attorney Terrence Harris of the Cochran firm. Cannot forget Churchill Smoke Shop. Also, Chambers and Gaylord Law Firm, man. They've been with us since day one. And Mangia Benet, Chuck.
Mangia Benet.
Let me tell you something, man. We've been working the hell out these croissants this morning. We got big these. Look. When I tell y'all we've been on these croissants, if I put it back in the box, that's kind of anti-COVID.
That would be. Bro.
Somebody, let me set this one. Let me put this one to the side.
Yes, indeed, man. That should be a fun one today. Jackson State, they're coming off of a 28-19 victory over Mississippi Valley State last week. And I tell you what, a little tougher than expected, but we got the W, and that's what matters.
I was still chewing this croissant from Broad Street Bakery and Cafe.
Yeah.
Got to get by that. Chuck went by, I'm sure, to get his cheese grits. Whenever he's in town, he's going to get cheese grits.
Had to finish my cheese grits before we got on camera.
And then bring it in for me. We brought me some croissants, though. Some big croissants. Look at this. Look, I ain't got no small hand, man. It's pretty good size croissant. Chuck, tough game in Mississippi Valley. Valley always plays us tough, man. You know, historically, we lead that series overwhelmingly, like it's not even close. But for some reason, it's always a tough game.
Always tough.
And Coach Dancy, who is a product of Jackson State football and even coached here at Jackson State, had those guys ready to go. We came out flat in the first quarter. That's something the coaches wanted to address this week to get ready for Texas Southern to not do that again. Came out flat up there in Valley. But by the time we got to back half of the second quarter into the third quarter, we started playing Jackson State football, and the final score was the final score. But it's one of those things where, you know, you're only as good as your last game.
Very much so.
In our last game, we did not win all four quarters.
That's it.
We did not get the run game established. So going into this week, and we're going to dig a little deeper into it, going into this week, we are looking to win all four quarters and establish the run game.
Very much the theme of the week. Again, focus, discipline, win each quarter. And in some respects, that was a little bit lacking last week. Only 30 yards rushing. I'm sure Our coaches definitely want to put the hammer down today with regards to getting that running game up and going. But hats off to Mississippi Valley, Coach Dancy, in terms of the Mississippi Valley State team. They played us tough. They played us like Mississippi Valley normally plays us. But again, like I said, the main thing was the main thing. Get the W and move forward. It's all about moving forward to this week.
You know, Chuck, I always say it, and I keep on saying it. Some of these wins are just like my 11th grade prom. Wasn't pretty, but we had fun, y'all. Got out there with the W. That's what's important. You want to get out there with the W.
That's what's important. Today, it is a look-see at two of the most dazzling freshmen in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. When you take a look at Texas Southern's quarterback, Andrew Body, true dual threat, one of the first true dual threats that Jackson State has seen this year, and Shedeur Sanders, SWAC newcomer of the week. The ball should be flying left or right. It should be a great, great contest when you take a look at these two freshmen.
Yeah, the eyes are going to be on both quarterback positions, Charles. You know, I get serious when I call you Charles. You know, you have two freshman quarterbacks with slightly different styles. Our quarterback, QB1, Shedeur Sanders, prolific numbers in the SWAC, even in the nation, when you compare his percentages of completion with his interception to touchdown ratio. But he does it mostly from the pocket.
Yes.
This quarterback that we're facing from Texas Southern, he loves those read options and making those zone reads, and he's literally about their second leading rusher on the team. So the linebackers today are going to have their hands full, got to stay disciplined, got to be prepared to be bored and do some spying, because if you go at him hard and miss, he's going to break that ball in a QB draw style run and, you know, get about 8 to 15 yards on it.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. When we take a look at it last week, Andrew Body, huge win over UAPB 59-17. He goes 16 of 25, 271 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also led the Texas Southern Tigers with 121 yards rushing. So Jackson State has their work cut out for them today. Looking forward to it. But I tell you what, when we kind of rewind back to look forward, you know, Coach Flea really was into it last week. I mean, we had some great footage from Coach Flea's halftime talk and really asking Jackson State to do more. They did it in the second half. And Roy, if we could take a look at that real quick with regards to Coach Flea, Coach Gary Harrell.
We need energy. Run on the field, run off the field. Coaches don't let them walk. Get to the ball. Let's go out and dominate, man. Let's stick together. Let's play the game, have fun. It's too much chatter with the refs. They distract me. All right, we said for every level there's a devil. Don't fall for the distraction. We chasing greatness. Let's go be great. Yes, sir. Let's go be great. All right? We was too tense, too tight. We got to be a little bit more relaxed and just play the game, dog. Play the game. Right now, we're making it hard. Now we got to go get it the hard way. All right, offense, let's run the ball. Let's line up. We don't care if they know it's coming. Let's play with purpose. Let's knock their ass on the ball. Let's get down and dirty and run the ball. Defense, they can't run. They can't run right now, defense. Not right now. We always talking about somebody making a play, somebody being that dog. What the playmakers? Right? Who gonna make the play? We need to see it right now, man. When we line up offense, defense, special team, we gotta line up with a purpose, and we gotta line up with pride to let them know we about to whoop your ass and go out and dominate. Everybody with me? Yes, sir.
The truth.
Good stuff last week from Coach Flea, man. He really turned up the volume, turned up the decibels. Jackson State came back out in the second half and got done what they needed to get done.
If you want to know why the Tigers came out for that second half and played different ball, Coach Gary Harrell.
Yes, sir.
Coach Flea. You know, Coach Flea has been a head coach before, played HBCU ball at Howard, coached at his alma mater, head coach at Howard. He is who Coach Prime has tapped to lead this team in his absence. A selection, if you let Coach Flea tell it, that could have been made by drawing straws or flipping a coin.
Pretty much, yeah.
All of the coaching staff is capable, but he's honored and humbled that Coach Prime chose him to lead this team and lead this staff as Coach Prime continues to recover. But you heard that halftime message. You know, we say we dog, somebody make a play.
Yeah, there you go.
And let's get out there and let's hit them in the mouth. And that's exactly what happened when you get to that third and fourth quarter against Mississippi Valley.
And plays were made last week. We talked about it maybe 2-3 weeks ago that Jackson State was playing lights out defense and really hadn't turned teams over. But I tell you what, over the past couple of weeks, they're starting to get those interceptions and they're coming in clusters. We need another strong effort from secondary today.
Yeah, you got to put an asterisk by it, though, Chuck. You know, it is hard for the secondary to get interceptions and the quarterback is on his back.
Very much so.
We have been getting so much pressure on the quarterback and getting so many sacks that has caused a drop off in what you would anticipate in interceptions. But the past few games, you're exactly right. We went from no interceptions to now getting 2 or 3 a game.
There you go.
We went from getting, sacks and that kind of thing to now scoring off of turnovers. So when you have your defense converting turnovers into points, it just adds to the wheels falling off for the other team. It puts them behind the 8 ball. They have to manage to call the game different. Now they have to pass.
Yes.
The clock is working against them. And the more you do anything, the more likely it is to fail.
Sure.
So when you start throwing and become one-dimensional, we start intercepting. And that's the flip to us, why we have to get the run game established so we don't become a one-dimensional team.
Very much so.
And we're going to dig deeper. As the show goes on, we're going to be with y'all till noon, maybe a little after noon because we got a little late start with some technical issues here at the stadium. But we're going to dig deeper into this game plan today in our meetings with the coaches this week. But it is going to be about getting this run game established because today we are facing a team that gives up a hell of a lot of run yards.
Yes, they do.
We're facing a team that gives up a hell of a lot of points.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, can they score? Does Texas Southern have a dynamic young quarterback? They sure do. But they also have a porous defense.
Yeah.
And so we're going to look to see if our offense moves that ball down the field. If we score, get some stops, get some turnovers, we're going to get into all that, Chuck. But, we got to go around the SWAC.
Got to go around the SWAC, man. A lot of great action today in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. It is November. It is championship March, still races to be determined in the SWAC East and the SWAC West. Some great action today in Southwestern Athletic Conference. Let's take a look around.
Before we take a look, let me touch on something right there, Chuck. Before we go to that, it is amazing how many of us don't understand how these divisions work. Which is why we take y'all around the SWAC. Chuck's get his little shiny bald head on that bus, and he rides around the SWAC, and we talk about the games for the week because they all matter.
They all matter. Yeah.
Yes, we have beaten every team in the SWAC East, but that still does not mean we have clinched the SWAC East.
Correct.
Yet. It's not mathematically over. There's a mathematical possibility that there's another team out of Tallahassee that could catch up.
Sure it did.
It's mathematically, it has not been clinched yet.
Correct.
We win today, they lose, it's done. We win today, they win. We got to go a little further.
There you go.
But what these coaches have drilled into our guys is, look, control what you can control, win your game. So to the fans out there, yes, we are undefeated in the SWAC East, but no, we have not clinched the SWAC East. We are in a mathematical position to not only clinch the SWAC East, if we keep going, we're in a mathematical position to guarantee host the SWAC championship. But in the words of our friend Lee Corso, not so fast. Not so fast, my friend. We still got work to do. So with that, Chuck, man, let's go around the SWAC.
Are heating up both in the SWAC East and the SWAC West as we speed toward the SWAC championship on December 4th. Let's get ready to go around the SWAC on the pregame show. We start off in Daytona Beach as the Alcorn State Braves 5-3, 4-1 in SWAC play. Get ready to take on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, who have yet to get on the winning side of the ledger. When we take a look at the Braves, they're attempting to bounce back from a tough defeat at the foot. A walk-off field goal from SU's Luke Jackson last week as the Braves were defeated 38-35 at the hands of the Southern Jaguars. But when we take a look at it, the Braves, despite the loss, they're still right in the thick of the race in the SWAC West. Balanced attack last week versus Southern. You take a look at it, Felix Harper, he went for 206 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns. Nico Duffy, as always, leads a strong Alcorn running game. He had 128 of the Braves, 241 yards on the ground. Defensively, Claudine Charles and Malcolm McGee, 14 and 10 tackles apiece to lead the Braves. Let's take a look at the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. They are coming back from a bye week. In their last outing, they dropped a 41-12 contest to Jackson State. But it's Ontario Johnson. He leads the push defensively for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. And Quishon Bird, he will lead the offensive attack for the Wildcats ground game as they look to try to break into the win column. That will be an 11 a.m. kickoff from Daytona Beach. That game can be seen on ESPN+. Let's go to Huntsville, Alabama. The Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, they invade Huntsville. They come into this contest 2-6 on the season, 1-4 in SWAC play. Alabama A&M, they are 4-3, 2-3 in SWAC play. Of course, taking a look at the Delta Devils, they gave Jackson State all they could handle last week. Running back Caleb Johnson, he went for 119 yards last week against the #1 defense in the SWAC. He leads the rushing attack, while on the defensive side of the ball for the Delta Devils, Valmy Soignier and Jerry Garner, they lead the defense. Taking a look at Alabama A&M, of course, every week we talk about quarterback Aquill Glass. Another big week last week for Aquill Glass as he led the Bulldogs to a huge win over the Alabama State Hornets in the Magic City Classic. Glass goes for 321 yards passing last week, 4 touchdowns for the Bulldogs. And when you take a look at it offensively, they are paced by Abdul Fattah Ibrahim, Adu Hilaire, and Gary Qualls, who is the SWAC's leading rusher for the #1 offense in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. 1 p.m. kickoff from Huntsville, and that game can be seen on the Alabama A&M Sports Network. Let's take it over to Pine Bluff, Arkansas. The Grambling State Tigers, they invade Simmons Bank Field as they take on the UAPB Golden Lions. Grambling 3-5 on the season, 2-3 in conference play, and UAPB, they are 1-7, 0-5 in conference play. Both teams are trying to bounce back from tough losses last week. Grambling, they dropped a 26-3 decision on the road last week to the Florida A&M Rattlers, while UAPB, they took it on the chin on the road in Houston at Texas Southern. Quentin Mitchell, he leads this Grambling defense into battle with the Golden Lions. He is the #3 defensive back in the SWAC. He has 3 picks thus far on the season. We'll take a look at UAPB. Skylar Perry, he's back under center again for the Golden Lions. Big week last week, 311 yards throwing for the UAPB Golden Lions in that loss. Jalen Thigpen, he leads the Golden Lions on the defensive side of the ball. That'll be a 2 p.m. kickoff from Simmons Bank Field in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, on the campus of UAPB. That game can also be seen on ESPN+. Let's take it down to Houston, Texas. Make it Prairie View, Texas. As the Alabama State Hornets, they get ready to take on the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Alabama State 3-4 in the season, 2-3 in conference play. Prairie View, they are 5-1, 4-0 in conference play. Alabama State, they're trying to bounce back from a tough Magic City loss to the Alabama A&M Hornets. Of course, Coach Donald Ely, he was relieved of his duties after that football game. Defensive coordinator Travis Pearson, he's going to lead the Hornets into battle this weekend versus the PV Panthers. Ryan Nettles, he was back under center for the Alabama State Hornets. 24 of 38, 243 yards last week. Wide receiver Jeremiah Hickson, 10 catches, 116 yards for the Hornets in that defeat to the Bulldogs. Ezra Gray also, he chipped in with 91 yards on 12 carries for Alabama State. We take a look at Prairie View. They're coming back off a bye week, but of course, when we last saw the Panthers, they were putting the hammer down on the Southern Jaguars. When you take a look at it, quarterback Jawan Pass, he has been the story of the season for the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Tremendous yards for Prairie View. We take a look at it. They lead the #2 offense in the SWAC. He and Lindemian Brooks are huge cogs in that offensive machinery that is the Prairie View A&M offense. On the defensive side of the ball, Prairie View, they're led by Treshad Smith. He leads Prairie View, had 7 tackles per game for the Prairie View A&M Panthers. He leads the SWAC's #3 defense. Interesting tidbit, Prairie View is also the least penalized team in the SWAC. Should be a great one. It's a homecoming kickoff. Alabama State visiting Prairie View. Prairie View's homecoming, that will be a 2 o'clock homecoming kickoff from the Hill in Prairie View, Texas. Let's head down to the Bluff. The Florida A&M Rattlers, they get ready to take on the Southern Jaguars. Florida A&M comes into this game 6-2 on the season, 4-1 in conference play. Southern 4-4 thus far, 3-2 in conference play. We take a look at FAMU. They're coming off a dominant performance against the G-Men, 26-3. Steady at the controls was quarterback Rashawn McKay, who tossed 2 touchdowns for 204 yards passing last week. The SWAC's #2 defense is led by Marquise Bell and Isaiah Land. They limited Grambling last week to only 187 yards total offense, only 3 of 11 on third down conversions. We take a look at the Southern Jaguars now as they break the Braves' jinx as they come through with a huge last-second win off the leg of Luke Jackson, the knockoff Alcorn last week, 38-35. The Jaguars, they are the number one rushing offense in the SWAC. They did it again last week, 194 yards on the ground. Glendon McDaniel, he leads the attack for the Jaguars through the air as both teams are still in the mix for the SWAC championship, but they will both need a little bit of help down the stretch for Florida A&M and Southern. It's a renewal of one of the best rivalries in HBCU football. Florida A&M, they visit Southern in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That will be a 6 p.m. kickoff from A.W. Mumford. That game can be seen on ESPN+. And of course, here in Jackson, Mississippi, the Texas Southern Tigers, 3-5 on the season, 2-3 in conference play, take on our Jackson State Tigers, who are 7-1, 5-0 in conference play. This game is going to feature two of the best freshmen in the Southwestern Athletic Conference in quarterback Andrew Body for the Texas Southern Tigers, and of course, Shador Sanders for Jackson State. When we last saw Texas Southern, Andrew Body, he body slammed UAPB last week, 59-17. Body goes 16 of 25, 271 yards, and 4 touchdowns through the air. Top that, he added 121 yards on the ground for the Texas Southern Tigers. Texas Southern, they come into this game averaging 28 points per game. Andrew Body, he throws for an average of 210 yards per game. His big play receivers are Keelan Davis, 37 receptions, 682 yards, 97 yards per game through the air. That is good for number 2 in the conference. Another weapon for the Texas Southern Tigers is wide receiver Jaron Johnson. When we take a look at Jackson State, of course, they feature SWAC newcomer of the week, Shador Sanders. Big game against Mississippi Valley last week, 18 of 31, 257 yards and 3 touchdowns. Standout receivers, Malachi Wildman, Trevante Rucker, Josh Lanier. They all have touchdown catch piece last week for the Jackson State Tigers. And what can you say about this Jackson State defense? They are the number 2 defense in the nation. They created turnovers, got sacks last week. 5.5 sacks for the Tiger defense, 4 turnovers, 4 picks last week against Valley, as Jackson State leads the nation in sacks. They have 38 sacks through 8 games thus far this season. 1 p.m. kickoff from the Vet. That game can be seen on the Jackson State Sports Network. And as we say every week here on the pregame show, go support your home team either in the seats or following them on the TV. But until next week, we'll see you around the SWAC here on the pregame show.
Mm-hmm. And welcome back into the pregame show. When we take a look at it, Andrew Body, 16 of 25, 271 yards last week and 4 touchdowns. A lot of eyes in the SWAC will be on the Jackson State Texas Southern game today, as well as in Baton Rouge later on tonight. FAMU taking on Southern Jaguars. Both teams still mathematically still in the race. So a lot of eyes around the SWAC today. Neely, man, you're out there on the field. What's going on, brother?
Man, out here on the field, some of the Texas Southern players are, let me see, can I do a little flip around? Some of the Texas Southern players are out and getting loose. Aubrey Miller is coming toward me right there in the red. What's going on, big dog? You good? So the Tigers have arrived. The Tigers of Jackson State, you know, we're going to call them Texas Southern. They're not Tigers. We the Tigers. But the Tigers have arrived. A few Texas Southern players are out here. Some of our players are coming out getting loose. Field conditions, Chuck. Field is in excellent shape. It was a little damper than I thought it would be. So it's moist, but you know, we had that fog roll in this morning, dropped a lot of moisture last night, but that is burned off. It's almost not a cloud in the sky on some parts of the stadium. So not really a cloudy day at all, lots of sunshine. So I'm sure this field is going to dry out a little more. Got some of the coaches out doing their thing, getting ready. We'll get Coach Weeks over for you. Got an intern, Terrace here. Terrace, coach in the red hat, Coach Weeks. Get his attention for me. Got to put in work. So, yeah, we're going to get Coach Weeks on defensive line, coach, for you to chat with, Chuck. But great day out here on the field. Some of the players are, like I said, getting loose. Texas Southern, some of their coaches out. They're walking the field, getting a feel for the field, if you will. Chuck, great day to be a Tiger. Not too late to get to the Vet. If you're watching us, we're going to go to an hour before kickoff. The game is broadcast on the JSU Sports Network, but it's not too late to get down to the Vet. Put that black on for Veterans Day. Coach, I got Coach Weeks for you.
Okay, sure thing.
How we doing, Tiger Nation?
Doing well, Jeff Weeks. Defensive line coach Jeff Weeks, welcome back into the pregame show. Hey, I tell you what, we have a tough one today with this Texas Southern football team, but you have the unique experience. You've actually had an opportunity to watch this quarterback, Andrew Body, prior to exploding on the scene in the SWAC.
Yeah, he had a heck of a high school career. I think he's in the top 5 at least. He had 14,000 yards throwing in the state of Texas out of Miller High School. Dual threat guy, does a great job with his legs and gets guys open. And he was a joy to watch in high school. So, but you know, we'll see how he does here in the SWAC.
No doubt. and you know, one of the things I know we've been really talking about, and it's been a theme over the past couple of weeks, has been discipline with regards to your defensive line. I tell you what, 38 sacks in over 8 games thus far in the season, good for number 1 in the nation. But you guys have still been practicing discipline, keeping your emotions in check, and doing your job.
Well, I think every coach in America is always going to preach discipline. We'd like to see a little more out there. I think there's times we get emotional, and you can't let your emotions take over the game. We got some older guys that's doing a good job keeping guys in check, but as a unit, we probably need to be a lot more disciplined. Don't let emotions take over and just go to work. Or sometimes with our emotions, it costs us plays, and then it makes stay out there a little longer than we like to. But obviously, you know, discipline's a key factor in this game. It's a key factor every game, and we'd like to see the discipline raise up a little bit and get after these guys early.
No doubt. Coach, especially from a defensive line perspective, when you have a quarterback who is a dual threat, what are 1 or 2 like major keys that you really have honed in with your defensive line this week?
Well, with a guy like that, you know, first of all, you want him to stay in the pocket. Most guys that are dual threat, they struggle from the pocket. They like to get on the move. So one of the things we practiced all week is not to rush past the quarterback. We want to make sure we're sitting there even with that guy. Don't give him any run lanes. So if we can set those edges where he's got to step up and get a good push inside, that's going to make him very vulnerable, and we can get after him and get some hits on him. The other thing about a running quarterback, you put your helmets on him a little bit, he tends not to run so fast.
There you go. Jeff Weeks always providing us that tremendous insight as you do week in, week out. Those are the keys to the game, especially from the defensive line perspective. As always, thank you, Coach. We're going to let you get back to pregame warmups.
Stop that quarterback. Go Tigers.
There you go. Stop that quarterback. Go Tigers. Coach Jeff Weeks, man, he brings us hot and heavy every week, brother.
Man, Coach Jeff Weeks is a fan favorite. He's a Neely favorite. You know, Chuck, I like Stamp Burgers, Big Apple Inn, and Jeff Weeks. Those are my 3 favorite things in that order.
Jackson Treasures.
That was just a canon test right there. If y'all heard it, I don't know if the mic picked it up or not, but our intern Terrence Harris, he just jumped over there. He got a little scared. Now you're laughing, but not. But Chuck, Coach Ricard is going to come on. Some more of the Tigers are coming out, warming up. Some of the receivers are walking around, getting loose. Got SWAC Defensive Player of the Week. Owens getting his stroll on. Well, you better see him when he walks by right there. Junior Miller is out here. Keith Corbin is out catching some passes. A lot of players out here, man, just getting loose. The sun is out. Bright day, Veterans Day celebration, honoring the veterans. Going to be a flyover. Yeah, Coach Ricard is coming up, going to talk special teams, man. Know how important that is. So it's all good. Coach, you ready? Ready, Coach? Special teams coach, Coach Ricard, Chuck Bishop.
Yes, indeed.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning, Coach Alan Ricard, special teams coach for our Jackson State Tigers. I tell you what, Coach, your special teams over the past couple of weeks, they have really turned it up a notch. Huge kickoff return in the Alabama State game. And then last week, had another huge kickoff return. So special teams getting it done.
Yeah, we've been playing well, but like the message, like I told them at the beginning of the week, is all great players, good players that aspire to for greatness. They're not satisfied. There's always another level they can take it to. And you know, I'm wanting us to get to that next level and challenging our guys to take it to another level. And you know, last week against Mississippi Valley, it was some good things, but there's also some things that we need to clean up. And they understand that, and I'm looking forward to the day them guys going out there cleaning that up, and we start playing our best special teams ball from here on out.
You know, Coach, when we take a look at this November run, especially November is kind of that championship time of the year. Margin of error is slim in terms of special teams, that third phase as we get on this championship run.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to get everybody best shot. And like you say, going into this championship run, this here at the toward the end of the regular season, the margin for error is very slim. And so we got to understand that. So that's why we got to prepare the right way. We got to come every day and practice with the right mindset, dialed in and focused. And today we got to be focused for 4 quarters in order for us to be victorious.
You know, Coach, one of the things that jumps out about me, and you preach this week in, week out, you have to have your antennas up for everything. This is a de facto bowl game for Texas Southern. So you really have to be ready for anything that they throw at you from a special team standpoint, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when we face certain teams and, you know we're going to get everybody's best shot. You know, they playing against Coach Prime's team and they want to get that win. And a lot of some of these schools that we're playing, their record may not indicate exactly how good they are. But yes, they are going to give us their best shot. And we kind of say like it's like a bowl game for them. And, you know, not to say they don't have anything to play for. Those guys are on scholarship. They have a lot of pride also. So we're just going to have to make sure we bring our A game and be dialed in for 4 quarters. Like you say, have our antennas up on each phase, looking for any little tricks that they may come with, because at this point they can risk it a little more than most teams. So we're going to have our antennas up, and we prepared for that all week, looking out for certain things. Actually, since the first game we played FAMU, and they tried to do a kickoff, a reverse on kickoff return. So ever since then, even before then, obviously we always prepare for trick plays. But we definitely got our antennas up, and I'm gonna preach that all day to the kids until the game is over.
And Coach, when we scout this Texas Southern special teams team a little bit, number 8, Kelton Wright, he's a dynamic return man for them as well. And then they have a pretty good kicker, number 87, Sawyer Evans. So these guys, special teams wise, they're pretty good.
Oh yeah, from the spring until now, they're a totally different team, man. We respect them, and we're gonna go out there and play bring our A game. But we definitely respect them as a special team unit. You can tell that they getting coached up good. So it's a challenge for us, and I know we're looking forward to that challenge.
No doubt about it, Coach. We're going to let you get back to pregame festivities, pregame warm-ups as we continue on with the show, but always appreciate you stopping by the pregame show, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you next time.
Yes, indeed. That was Coach Alan Ricard. He is the special teams coach for our Jackson State Tigers. Special teams, Neely, they've been getting the job done over the past couple of weeks, and Coach Ricard, he kind of laid out what to expect today.
Yeah, he did, man. And, you know, special teams mathematically is 33% of the ball game. You know, you got offense, defense, special teams. It matters, but it at times matters more than 33% of it because it sets the field position. You know, so whether you're receiving the ball and can get it across the 50, or you get a deep punt and you pin them deep, like it establishes it's the bell cow, if you will, for the offense and the defense. And our special teams, man, you know, has been dynamic this year. Big plays. Isaiah Bolden, Florida State transfer, has been fielding the ball and getting an advantageous field position for the offense. Has broken a couple, you know, where the offense didn't even get to go out there, if you will. And same thing with Warren Newman, and expect Warren Newman back, y'all, for the Southern game. Might play today. Hadn't checked the full depth chart yet, but he should definitely be back for the Southern game, for the game next week. So special teams, having Coach Ricard, come on, man. Y'all pay attention to special teams now out there because they set the tone.
Special teams does set the tone week in, week out. And like you said, they call him Big Play Zay. He has had a couple of special kick returns over the past week, really setting up field position for the Tigers. And really, you talk about that third phase, it really helps that offense out when you're talking about field position and being able to work with a short field, really. Yeah,
and I was just moving out the way because we got a couple of more players coming out, and the Jumbotron is starting up with the music, with the show coming on. James Houston is out and about. Some of the Texas Southern players are getting out. Oh, you all good, brother. You all good. We it's a football game. You do what you got to do. So some of the coaches are out getting warm up. QB2 is out. The special teams out. James Houston over there sprinting the sidelines. He's dialed in. You know, he's going to get on that stationary bike in a little while. but we are showing 64 minutes and 25, 24, 23, 21 seconds from kickoff here at the Vet. Not too late to get here. Going to be a blackout in the stands and on the field. Our teams are in the black uniforms once again, asking the fans to wear black as we celebrate and honor veterans here at the Vet. Jackson State versus Texas Southern, Chuck. Hey, Chuck, we had Coach Ricard on him, man. Some of the stuff he touched on there. We spent a lot of time in the team meetings with the coaches and the players. We got some great inside exclusive stuff for y'all. So let's get ready to queue up some of those, Chuck, and show folks the conversations that our coaches have with the players as they prepare them for the week.
Yeah, let's take a look at Coach Flea as he gets ready for this Texas Southern Tiger football team. Roy, let's queue up Coach Flea and hear what he has to say to the Tigers this upcoming week.
7:55. Let's talk about what DTS said earlier about this. We got to get back to being disciplined off the field. So all that carries on to the field. All right, we get some emails about you guys doing some great things, and you guys are doing some great things for the community. All right, for this university, for the alumni, for yourself. All right, so make sure we continue to do that, and we don't taint what we are doing as far as trying to achieve greatness, what we're trying to get accomplished. We don't want nobody to think that we're doing great things on the football field. Yeah, they're great players, they win the games, but man, they're assholes, they disrespectful. All right, it just don't work hand in hand. So everything we do, man, we do with humility. All right, be humble. Everything we do. All right, that's pretty much just a modest and low view of your own importance. That means just giving thanks to the Lord above. Everything we accomplish, give thanks to someone else. Because it's just not us. We're here for a reason. All right, he's using us to help others. This whole community, to lift this whole community, this whole Jackson State family. You guys are doing some great things and don't realize it, but that's make sure we don't tarnish what we're trying to get accomplished, okay? So you guys keep doing what you're doing as far as good things, but make sure you guys do those things for us. I don't want to get an email about, guys, that's not us. Let's get to what we know we can do. Let's do great things and make sure nothing is tarnished as we move forward. Everybody with us? We on the field, like Coach said, I want to see that in practice. I want to see that quarterback know he's going to get hit. If you don't have the ball Saturday, his ass getting hit. So I need to see that on defense. I need to see it on offense. Everybody stand square. I need to see the big runs. We need to see the big plays today. Last week we came out after Tuesday with a whole lot of energy. Let's have the same day today, guys. All right? Let's go to work.
And there you have it, Coach Flea firing up the Chargers, getting the guys ready for this upcoming week. Neely, quarterback one, has entered the field. You got him back there, buddy.
Yeah, QB1 is on the field. A lot of his receivers are starting to come out, going to do some workouts, get them loose and ready. He's actually walking the end zone back down towards you in the media center. He'll be this way in a second. So the atmosphere is picking up on the field as individuals start to come out, and then you have groups come out to get their work on. So special teams is here getting together. And like you said, QB1 is on the field as well. Let me flip around. Chuck, today is really an anniversary. Do you know what today is?
What's today, brother?
Today is the day that Shedeur Sanders 1 year ago signed with Jackson State University.
Significant turning point in Jackson State football history. Shedeur Sanders, and I tell you what, you talk about freshman phenom. He has taken the SWAC on by storm. He is one of the leaders in the nation in completion percentage. He's completing 68% of his passes. 18 of 31 last week, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns. SWAC newcomer of the week, Neil.
Yeah, phenomenal passing percentage. Y'all forgive me wobbling a little bit. It's hard to find. A lot of people don't know this, Chuck, but football fields are sloped. They have a little crescendo and decrescendo to them. I know when you're up there. I know when you're up there in the stands, and it looks flat, but there's a hump on the football field. It helps the drainage.
There you go.
Imagine a roof. There has to have a slight pitch.
There you go.
Just giving y'all a little agriculture,
football
horticulture lesson there. But yeah, man, phenomenal percentage. I think he's still ticking right at about 70% completion on his passes. Phenomenal touchdown to interception ratio. But his nickname is grown for a reason, man. One of the mature guys when it comes to this game. Even last week when we were doing straight out of the Tigers' mouth, y'all be sure to search hashtag straight from the Tiger's Mouth straight from the Tiger's
Sponsored
Mouth
by BioSteel.
on Instagram and on YouTube. Sponsored by BioSteel. Excellent coverage. This was after a scoring drive when most people be jubilant, and Grown said, "Man, I really don't feel like talking right now because we ain't doing what we should be doing. You know, we're leaving a lot out there." So he's here at the 50-yard line. Legendary headphones on. You know, picked up that sponsorship by Beats. Someone just tried to call me. I don't know why people call me, you know, Chuck, live during the show. Like I don't understand it. You know, I know, Chuck, I know I ain't nobody, but I just can't imagine you calling Tony Kornheiser during part and interruption. Like it just, why would you do that? You know,
correct.
I don't get that, Chuck.
There you go, buddy. There you go.
So yeah, we're here, man, at the 50-yard line, showing now 58 minutes to kick off. Black punter is out here. The special teams is out here. That's the inside joke, y'all. Warren Newman is out flying around. He's getting loose and sprinting. Like I said, don't know if he's going to suit up today or not, but he is anticipated to be back with us for the Southern game. So Chuck, let's pull up another team meeting exclusive with the pregame show. Let's go with that coaches montage where we had several coaches speaking to the team and put together some clips for y'all. And then live, I'm going to go over there and get Coach O and bring him on.
Yes, indeed, Roy. Let's go to that team montage from the coaches this past week.
You, man. And that's the mindset of guy. He never felt like he belonged. Even though he was tearing the league up, after his second year, he had some drops his rookie year, but after that, he cleaned that up. His second and third, he was tearing the league up. But he never felt like he belonged. And that's what the good players and the great players, their mindset. They never satisfied. It's always a level they feel like they can take it to. And that's what we got to understand. If we want to strive to be good players, great players, that's the mindset we got to take on, that it's always another level you can take it to. And we got to take this thing to another level, man, because the margin of error is going to be slim the more we get into this championship run, man. So we're going to have to be dialed in. We got to be focused. So get your notebooks out, get something to write with, and let's get started, man, with the game plan, all right? Today we got
a lot of people. But you're not putting in the work, some of you, and it shows. Last week I sat up here and said, follow the damn tight end, running back, 35, 13. Did he not? Plays they made, was he not involved? Every play they made. Everything they did on offense started probably pretty much there. Correct? Correct. I'm going to say it here today. Follow the quarterback this week. The quarterback. He's got everything. Coach looked at stats. He's got more yards rushing than two of their running backs. He's got the yards passing. He's got everything for their football team. Anything and everything. So we need to really pay attention. Do you still need to have discipline? And you still need to do your job? Yes, but the quarterback's the key to this football game. Guys, every game I get up here, I always talk about it's a big game. They're all big. The next one on the schedule is big. But each one has a little special sauce to it. This has sauce to me. This dude is from where I'm from.
You know, we've got some guys here that they look behind them and they say, well, I'm a lot better than this dude behind me, so I don't have to practice hard. Okay, and it's like Coach said, you can't flip a switch on Saturday, man. I mean, let me ask you a question. Y'all honestly think Tom Brady thinks the backup at Tampa Bay is going to beat him out? Do y'all? Y'all think he practices the way some of y'all practice it, that don't have a guy behind you that can beat you out? I seriously doubt. Matter of fact, I know him. I ain't never watched him practice. Guys, you can't flip a switch on Saturday. This is Division I college football. You're playing scholarship players every Saturday. You're playing motivated scholarship players every Saturday.
So don't get it twisted. The objective is not looking behind you and seeing that you're better than the guy behind you so you don't have to work as hard. Your objective should be to look forward to where you're trying to go or where you want to go. Respect your opponent. How do you do that? We say it every week, or I've said it every week. You give them your best. You prepare your best. You give them your best. That's how you respect them. That's how you respect the game. That's how you respect your peers. Your players sitting next to you. You put on tape two things. You either sending a message or an invitation. When you play less than the message, you give a team an invitation because you think you give them an opportunity to think that they can beat you. So they want to play. Let's not do that. Let's send a message for this game and for every other game after this.
My bad in the hospital. And welcome back into the pregame show. Team montage. Coaches really giving it to the players this week in terms of getting ready for this Texas Southern Tiger team. Look who you got there with you, Neely.
Man, Sonny the Tiger is here. Sonny, you live on the pregame show, baby. Yeah. Sonny, let me, we are Jackson State D Tigers. They call themselves something, but they're not Tigers. They're Texas Southern. What's your prediction for today's game, Sonny? Oh, yeah. Yeah, big 2-1 headache game CEO. 21-0. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Sonny the Tiger. Y'all make sure y'all follow him on the gram. Make sure y'all support Sonny the Tiger. Excellent mascot in the tradition of Wavy Dave, doing things big here on game day, hyping that student section up with the band and the cheerleaders. Sonny, we appreciate you and love you, man. Go Tigers.
One of the best mascots in the business, Sonny the Tiger.
One of the best in the business. Coach O. Hey, we got Coach O going to come over now, man. Let me find a good spot because more and more the team is starting to come out. And the motto of the pregame show, Chuck, is to be in the mix but not be in the way. So let me get my ass off the field and make some room for the incomparable Coach Otis Ridley, baby.
What's going on, Chuck?
What do you say, Coach O?
I can't call it, man.
Wanted to get into it real quick, man. We got a dual threat quarterback today in Andrew Body. Talk a little bit about what you've seen on film from this young man.
Man, yeah, Andrew Body, man, good young prospect in this league. A guy that's going to make a lot of defenses sleep a little less at night when they have to face him, man. I've been really impressed with this young man, a dual threat. His accuracy in the short game is really good. He creates outside the pocket. That's where he's most dangerous. But we have to do a good job today of containing him and getting multiple hats on him to slow down that passing and that rushing attack from Texas Southern.
Yes, indeed, Coach, man. I appreciate you kind of giving us even more overview. Coach Jeff Weeks talked a little bit about getting some hats on that young man because he's a dual threat. He can throw the ball and can run the ball. So we've got to be in the mix. Appreciate that, Coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Coach Otis really coming into the pregame show, man, always gives us tremendous insight into the game. And I tell you what, we got this tremendous quarterback, freshman phenom. He has a couple of wide receivers who can flat go get it. Keelan Davis is number 2 in the SWAC in terms of average yards receiving. But I tell you what, this isn't I joke about it. It's not your mom and pop's Texas Southern team. They got some talent over there.
They got players, man. They got players. Coach McKinnon's been doing a good job of just stocking those shelves over there, man, getting guys in that fit his system. And they'll stay true to themselves and they've been consistent in their approach to it. And now they're starting to see the fruits of their labor, so to speak. So it's been really impressive to see them get that program going over there. We have our work cut out for us today, but we also understand the task that's at hand and what we need to do to accomplish that task. So we're ready to play ball today. The guys understand that, hey, man, this, when you get to play in November and you got the record that we have, each game gets bigger and bigger. And we want them to get bigger. We like big-time games. And if we keep sticking to what we've been doing and keep playing, JSU, dark side defense, and then explosive offense, keep putting points on the board, we got a chance to see ourselves down in November going into December.
Appreciate it, Coach, man. We're going to bring Neely back in. But thank you always for coming into the pregame show and giving us the best insight possible.
Awesome. Hey, good luck. Go Tigers.
Go Tiger.
Chuck.
Yo, Neely, what you got, bro?
Let me tell you what I got, man. Let me tell you what I got. Do you know that interview that we have recorded with Coach Hart?
Yeah.
Just scroll over there and delete that. We don't have to run a recorded interview with Coach Hart when we got Coach Hart right here on the sideline. We can just talk to him live and direct. So we're going to bring on Coach Andre Hart, man, linebacker coach. We just moved that recorded segment to the side and bring him to the Tiger Nation Live.
Yes, indeed. Coach Andre Hart, linebackers coach.
Now, y'all know I was going to be here live with y'all, man. I ain't going to miss Saturday game day. Come on,
there
baby.
You go, Coach.
What's up, dog? I'm going to be here live, man. Y'all see me, I'm moving. Huh? All right.
Yes,
what up, baby?
What do you say, Coach? Hey, man,
it's a great day today, baby.
Great day to be a Tiger. We got a true dual threat quarterback. He runs that zone read option really well in SWAC. Really taking on the SWAC by storm. Talking about that quarterback, Andrew Body.
Yeah, body man. He's very dynamic. Very dynamic guy. When you look at him on film, he just separates once he finds a hole or a crease. He's deadly even in the passing game. You know, if you cover up everything well, you still need somebody to spine. He makes up more than 70 to 80% of their offense with his legs and his throwing ability. So we got to always know where he is and what he's doing at all times.
Got to know what he's doing at all times. Linebackers coach, what are your linebackers keys today in terms of making sure they keep this young man under wraps?
Now, since it's the pregame show, I'm gonna tell you now. Don't let this leak out to nothing but our fans. Now, I don't want nobody
okay.
Know what we doing. So what we're gonna do, coach, is because of his ability to run, we're gonna take some shorter drops and spy him in the passing game just to make sure he doesn't find any holes, because we've been getting to the quarterback all year, as you know. I think we have 31 or 32 sacks in 7 games.
38
so we
sacks
expect
so far.
to get him on the move. 38, is that right?
38 sacks, lead the nation.
Yeah, 38. I need a pay raise, baby. Somebody got to see me. I didn't know that. I got to fix my stats. Okay, but no, seriously, we're going to take our drops just a little bit shallow to make sure that we cover for him being able to scramble and run with the ball, because he can extend plays like that. We don't want that to happen. We want to have 1 through 3 downs and out. So that's one of the things we're going to do. We're going to spy him quite a bit.
Sure thing. When you have a freshman quarterback, is there something special that the defenses really have to do with regards to kind of confusing them and really giving them some college looks?
Well, because he's a freshman quarterback, I think one of the things we talked about a lot is changing up our coverages, making sure we're showing them blitzes, then coming out of them, and then bringing full heat. When he's a freshman quarterback, he doesn't have that much experience on the college level. So as much as you can disguise and change up things in front of him, make him think, make him hold the ball a little bit longer than he wants to, I think it plays into our hands. So that's what we want to do. We want to cram him with a lot of experience and a little bit of time to see how he handles it.
No doubt about it. Coach, man, we're going to let you get back to pregame with your guys, man. I always appreciate you stopping by the pregame show and laying it out for us in terms of what our Jackson State fan base needs to see today.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Love the pregame show. B.I. love. Let's go, J-State.
Let's go, J-State. Go Tigers.
Chuck, I hope you heard that, man, because we got to get with the budget and get that pay raise. 38 sacks. It's time to renegotiate.
It's time to renegotiate.
It's time to renegotiate. Man,
Yes,
Chuck, I'm
indeed,
over here with the receivers. They're doing a little toe tap drill, not doing the over shoulder work, catches and passes from the assistant coaches. More and more coaches are out. Coach Marcus is out, the O-line coach. The cornerbacks are over here working. Let me show y'all something that they are doing. Kids just out here getting loose. They're working on picking that thing off. So they're breaking on the ball, getting loose, getting limber. We are now 14 minutes from kickoff here at the Vet. Chuck. It's not too late to get here. It's a blackout. The team will be in black. The fans will be in black. 46 minutes away from us recognizing veterans at the Vet, Chuck.
Yeah, and wanted to touch on it. If you're under 18 years old, you get in free today for Military Appreciation Day. So definitely wanted to throw that out there for all our Jackson State fans. Come on out, support the.
Yeah, because it's also I want to say it's high. I want to say it's high school day out there.
Yeah,
a lot of high school buses I've seen. So 18 and under in the game free. There's a special gate for that entrance. The pregame show, we're gonna wrap up before kickoff. We got 45 minutes to do that. Chuck, one thing we can do while we have it, that segment that we have with Texas Southern, we can roll that, last when we're actually done with the live portion. And that can just carry us over because you did a great sit down with Texas Southern media folks. So that'll be some great information for the fan base out there. And we can just stay with the live content, while we got this action out here on the field. Tell you what I'll do, Chuck. I'm gonna walk out here back by QB1, get y'all some footage of that. Coach Phillips, this game is personal for him. He don't want to lose to Houston. Anybody in that Houston area, he wants to go home with that chest out and up.
You better believe it. You better believe it. Coach Jason Phillips, of course, roots over there in that Houston area. And you know what, Neely? There's a lot of similarities when we talk about Jackson State and Texas Southern. A lot of people from Mississippi over there in that Houston area, and a lot of symbiotic relationship between Jackson State and Texas Southern. So many people from Mississippi who have gone on to matriculate over at Texas Southern. So a lot of things going on with regards to this team. A little bit like playing your first cousin.
And including my host, Charles Bishop, who once he graduated from Jackson State University, moved to Houston and mathematically has now lived in Houston longer than he lived growing up in Jackson. And not only is he a graduate of Jackson State University and born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, and raised in Houston, he is now a professor at Texas Southern University. So when you talk about that synergy, it's not just for fans, it's also with the pregame show co-host Charles Bishop. And for those who are just joining us, we are live at the vet, at the 50-yard line, on the block. Got to protect the block. QB1, Shedeur Sanders, leading the SWAC in a lot of those very important categories, especially completions and touchdown to interception ratio. He is out getting loose. We are 43 minutes to kick off. Coach Ricard is talking. You talk about relationships. A lot of these coaching staffs know each other. We mentioned Coach Phillips. He knows personally his staff from his days and times in Houston. So a lot of the players are coming in and out, Chuck, and getting warmed up. Hey, Chuck, you want to drop one of those segments on? What coach segment we got left?
Yeah, let's take a look at Coach TC, man. Coach TC Taylor, offensive coordinator for this Jackson State football team. Let's take a look at what Coach TC Taylor had to say to the troops in regards to this upcoming week against Texas Southern.
It's all about the practice. Because last week we put up start fast. We didn't start fast. You know why? Because I went back and looked at the practice. We were late getting out to practice all week. All right, when we didn't start fast in practice. We talked about next man up. We had some guys we were counting on, and we're still continuing to count on this week, but you didn't practice hard last week. We talked about third down. Every situation we had third down last week in practice, we weren't very good at it. All right, we talked about running the football. All last week in practice, we were getting stoned. So for me this week, it's about today and tomorrow in practice. I don't care nothing about Texas Southern. I don't care about who we playing. I'm talking about practice. How are we going to compete in practice? Because for me, that's what translates to the football game. So if we're not going to go out there and practice hard, that's what we're going to get on game days. It's not done on Thursday and Wednesday and Monday and Sundays. That's about what you're going to get on game day. So it don't do me no good to put it up there and then you think you're going to go out there on game day because we're not winning the game throughout the week. Too many distractions, all right? Too many guys worried about what they're going to do statistically, but we still have to win the football game. That game last weekend didn't have to be close. Congratulations on it. We're still, is it 7-1? Yeah. We're still 7-1, but we're so much better than that, and it's frustrating now. Because what teams are starting to see at this point, this week, next week, and the week after next, is some kinks in the armor. I think these dudes ain't quite what they've been talking about and selling. Because what? We haven't been doing it in practice. We hadn't been doing it in practice. We got to be better this week in practice. That's all I got.
Coach, one of the things you wanted to focus on was the QB getting the ball out of his hands a little quicker. To make sure we are mitigating some of those sacks and pressures. What are you looking for in drills like this in their
ball? So right now, this is the little things. We're getting a little extra time. So things, him developing a relationship with the center, following the ball from the snap through. All that's going to pay dividends right there.
Go Tigers.
And welcome back into the pregame show. You saw the last shots there of quarterback one, Shedeur Sanders. I tell you what, when you take a look at Shedeur, last week 257 yards, go with 18 of 31. Currently leads the SWAC with completion percentage 68.4% with regards to completion percentage. He's thrown 20 touchdowns. If you're going to get in the camera,
you have to get in the camera.
He's thrown 20 touchdowns thus far in the season. Guess what, Tiger fans? Only 11 touchdowns behind SWAC standouts Robert Kent and Casey Terrio, who back in 2001, 2002, Robert Kent, he threw for 31 touchdowns. Casey Terrio in 2010, also 31 touchdowns. So Shedeur Sanders, 11 touchdowns away from some all-time SWAC greats in terms of touchdowns thrown. So as we wait for Neely to come back in, man, I tell you what, this is going to be just one of those games, and we touched on it with Coach Hart, Coach Weeks. We talked about Andrew Body. Andrew Body is a freshman sensation for Texas Southern University, leads them, of course, in passing. True dual threat quarterback. He's second on the team in rushing. Huge game last week when you take a look at what he was able to do. 257 yards, passing 4 touchdowns, also 121 yards on the ground for the Texas Southern Tigers. And it's going to be on our Jackson State defense to really control them. Coach Hart talked about the linebackers. We're probably going to have to take some shorter drops today to try to spy on him, keep him contained in the pocket, because he can give you all sorts of trouble in regards to what he is able to do offensively. Of course, just listen to Coach T.C. Taylor. He talked about eliminating the distractions. It's going to be really, really important. We've seen over the past couple of weeks now that when this team starts getting going, they will have some inexplicable penalty of some sort. So it's going to be really important on this team to really focus in, start off much, much stronger in the first and second quarters. Of course, the week in, week out theme is win every quarter. So that's what we really have to take a look at with regards to this Jackson State football team and getting that running game up and going. That's going to be huge. Only 30 yards net rushing last week for Jackson State. And that's one of those things in talking to Coach T.C. Taylor that he is really honed in on, is really wanting to get that running game up and going. And of course, Jackson State Tiger fans, smartest fan base, I think, in HBCU football, college football, they take notice of those rushing yards and trying to find that balance, if you will, with regards to this Jackson State offense. We know we can throw the ball, but we know to be a championship team, you've got to have that ground and pound as well. So those are the things you take a look at going forward in this game.
Let this video back in.
As we're going to tell Roy, if you would, let Neely back in. He's trying to get back in there. But
on the video that's here.
On the video that's here in the studio, the media room. Mm-hmm. So when we take a look at it, I tell you what, it's going to be one of those things with regards to Jackson State. Coach Hart, Coach Weeks really honed in on discipline, and getting hats on this Andrew Body. And even Coach Weeks said it. To take away a little bit of that run, you got to hit him enough. So that's going to be huge for Jackson State in this game, Neil.
Yeah, the thing is, what we want to do defensively, and that was a great interview with linebacker coach Andre Hart. But when they get into this read option, if you will, a situation where the quarterback, just relax, Chuck. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. They just getting water out, Chuck. It's not interrupting the show. All right, Chuck was about to go bizarro world Brian Gumble and get violent to him. Like, no, Chuck, it's okay.
It's a live show. That's what happens.
Yeah, it happens. But as I was saying, what we've got to do is make him make a decision, and the decision is give the ball to the running back. We would much rather have the ball in the running back's hand than his hand, because in his hands he can run it and pass it. Running back is just going to run it. So you want to get that pressure towards the quarterback, make him think the better alternative is the running back and get it out of his hands, because he's leading them in rushing and he's a phenomenal passer. And if we don't stay patient and disciplined and spy him from that linebacker position and be prepared to be a little bored today at linebackers, if we don't do those things, he's going to get some yards on the ground.
He's going to get some yards on the ground. That's something we have to keep an eye on with regards to. Coach Hart touched on it, giving him some different looks and really kind of keeping him off balance as a quarterback.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is he is a true freshman. We have a true freshman, and how they manage our true freshman is up to them. But how we're going to manage their true freshman is give him some unique looks, change up some things, give him some things he hadn't seen on film, make him think. Versus being out there just being a natural athlete that he is, because he is a talented ball player. So we want to give him some looks, make him think, get some freshman pressure on him in that freshman mindset, and give him a defense he hadn't seen so far this year.
One of the things that we're going to see from this Texas Southern team today, they like to run tempo. They like to get to the line of scrimmage and get the next play off. Personnel-wise, it's going to be important to make sure that we get those guys on and off and get some fresh legs out there, if you will, against this young man, Andrew Body. But we haven't talked a little bit about his receivers. He has one of the top receivers, I think, in the SWAC. And Keelan Davis, 37 receptions, 682 yards. He's almost averaging 100 yards a week in terms of catches. Built number 2 in SWAC. As you refresh yourself.
With bio still.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
he certainly does have, some receivers he likes to key on, but it's nothing our secondary can't handle, and it's nothing that he can get to if our forefront and linebackers are doing their job. So I think this is an offense that we can contain, we can corral. I think this is an offense that we can get some pressure on before he's able to get the ball downfield. He did have a big game against UAPB, but this ain't UAPB out there.
No, this ain't UAPB. This is the number 2 defense in the nation, the number 1 defense in the nation in terms of sacking the quarterback, 38 sacks going into this game. We have a young man by the name of James Houston, 9.5 sacks on the season. They really get after it.
Yeah, they do. James Houston was out there bouncing around just then. I just showed Chuck a note to say turn your camera on and off, and he nodded like he read the note, but then he didn't turn his camera off and on.
I'd already done it.
He nodded like, hey.
I saw the note and I already turned it on and off.
Hey, man, I love a live show. I love a live show. James Houston was out there, man, on the bike, getting loose, doing his thing. As the stadium starts to fill up, we really lose a lot of the Wi-Fi coverage out there. So had to come back in, but we'll try to finish the show on the rooftop or back out there. But we gave y'all some excellent on-field content, exclusive content that you can't get on ESPN, can't get on WOBT, can't get anywhere but the pregame show, thanks to the access, the unprecedented access that Coach Prime has afforded us and the trust he has in us. But Chuck, when you talk about Texas Southern's offense and what they do, for the most part, man, they're going to be in 10 personnel. That's a 1 and a 0. That 0 is a tight end. There's not going to be a tight end out there on the field in too many plays.
Football 101.
Football
I like
101, 10 personnel. They come with 1 running back, 0 tight end. So our secondary doesn't have to worry about that. They like to change up those formations, still without a tight end, and to go with 2 backs. And it gives some looks even out of their empty formation. But when it's empty, it's still the key is, so Jeff Weeks talked about it. He talked about against Valley, the key was the tight end. When you play poker, Chuck, there's what's called a tail. A lot of people have a tail and they don't even know they have a tail. Like they scratch their eyebrow when they got a big hand, because they got a nervous tick. They look at their watch when they're drawing dead. Everybody has a tail. And with Valley's offense, the tail is the tight end. The tight end, the way his feet are, the way he lines his shoulders up, where he's positioned, you kind of get a sense when you watch film where the ball's going. Today, yes, Jeff Weeks was right. The quarterback has our attention because he is the engine in this offense, but the tail in this offense is the running back. So watching those empty backfields when they have him lined at receiver, if he goes in motion.
That's tremendous insight. Tremendous insight when you take a look at scouting this Texas Southern football team. And then when we flip it on the defensive side of the ball, they have a young man by the name of Michael Badejo, number 1 on your roster. They will line him up all over the place, defensive end, defensive tackle, but he's one of their top end edge rushers. He likes to bring a little bit of pressure. They have another young man who actually has roots here in Mississippi, DeMontre Anderson, is another guy to keep an eye out for in terms of trying to bring pressure. But they're going to give us some opportunities today. They're going to give us some man-to-man opportunities.
They are. Our receivers are going to have to win some one-on-one battles and have to catch some contested balls. But there's going to be a lot of opportunity. This secondary of Texas Southern should give us some great opportunities downfield, provided that our offensive line gives QB1 the time, to let those receivers get downfield, because they play a lot of man. So there's going to be a lot of single coverage out there. But when you talk about Michael Badejo, he's not just number 1 on his jersey. He's number 1 on their team. He's the guy to keep an eye on. And I tell you, Chuck, it's almost an insult when he's in front of you, because they move him to whoever they think the weakest link.
Whoever they think the weakest link, exactly.
They don't put him up against the challenging offensive lineman. They want him to eat because he moves around and he's on go mode all the time. And not a lot of drop off between number 1 and number 2 jersey numbers on Texas Southern defense. I think our linemen can handle their defensive line. I think they can give Shedeur Sanders some time, from a rush up the middle. It's going to be what happens off the edge. We got to pick that up. As Coach T.C. Taylor says, no blocky, no rocky.
No blocky, no rocky.
So our running backs are going to have to block and stay back and add in some extra protection, for number 1 and number 2, depending on where they're coming from. But I like this challenge. I think that this is a defensive line for Texas Southern that gives up a lot of running yards. And I will put it out there right now, Chuck, to you, that if we can't find a way to run the ball on this team, we have deeper issues than we have been acknowledging.
It's a little scary.
We found a run game, I think week 2 or 3, then it fell back off. The past 2 weeks, we've had some advantageous matchups where we should have got the running game going, but we didn't. But today is probably the most favorable matchup on paper as far as a team that gives up yards on the ground, even scores on the ground. So today is the day for that Tiger offensive line to fall in love again with run blocking. Today is the day for that running back crew, that running back committee that we have to eat up some yards on the ground, man. It's just a mindset. As Coach Pollock says, running the ball is a mindset.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When you take a look at Texas Southern, not one of the top defenses in the conference. They're giving up 40 points a game in terms of rushing, giving up 84 rushing first downs. They're giving up over 200 yards a game with regards to rushing, to over 250 yards a game in regards to passing. There should be opportunities today for this offense to really get on track and really look like this Jackson State offense that we saw a couple of weeks ago against Alabama State. So we want to get back into it.
I don't think we're asking too much for asking for 100 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
If we were sitting here saying, hey, we got to get 250 on the ground to win this game, that could be a stretch. But we're looking for 100, 125 yards. I mean, if we can get 125 yards, if we can get 100, 125 yards on the ground, that puts this offense no longer one-dimensional. We're going to really be able to open it up downfield, and you're going to see us put up more than 40 points on the team that's giving up 40 points.
And then it also rests the defense. So you always get fresh legs chasing after this Andrew Body, this quarterback.
Great point. Well, Chuck, you know what you should do? You got so much information like that and great points. You should consider co-hosting a Jackson State sports show. You really should. I don't know what you're looking for in your life. Everybody has different things they want to accomplish, but you should. I'm pouring that into you. You should.
Thank you. Do you know how much fun that would be? Man.
If you need someone to host it with you, man, I'm available.
I think I know the guy. Man, I couldn't think of a better person than host.
All I need is croissants.
And BioSteel.
That's all I need. I took a bite out that one. Might be time for another bite out of it.
There you go. This is part of the show, man, where we kind of look and kind of give a little bit of a scoring prediction in regards to this game, this Texas Southern football team. 3-5, 2-3 in conference play. Jackson State Tigers 7-1, 5-0 in conference play. A little bit of fight last week against Mississippi Valley. First team that rushed for over 100 yards on our defense. Caleb Johnson, great job last week in Mississippi Valley. They scored 19 points, which was the first time all season a team has been over, I think, 14 points, if I'm not mistaken. So Jackson State defense still averaging only giving up 13 points a game. But I tell you what, we have to take a look at what's your scoring prediction today for this game?
Oh, wow, man. Normally I just roll right out with a prediction, but today I got to give you some what-if scenarios first.
Okay.
If this offensive line of Jackson State can just frankly whoop some ass and we run the ball, we're going to score over 40 points.
Okay.
If this offensive line in the running game does not get going, I'm going to put us around 30, 35 points.
Sure.
I do believe that we have a bend, don't break defense. We are known to get hit first and then start playing. So I'm expecting Texas Southern to get a field goal or two and maybe even a touchdown. So 7 + 6. Last time I checked is 13.
13.
Jackson State Tigers 38. Texas Southern 13.
Tell you what, I like how you're thinking. I like how you've game planned this thing out. I kind of think in a similar fashion. I think if we can get to 32, 35 points, that's more than enough for this defense. And once we get over that 30-point barrier, it kind of tells me that we've run the ball a little bit as well, because this team gets rested up, gives this defensive line an opportunity to really get after quarterback, things of that nature. But defense has been doing it all year. Last week was a little bit of an aberration, some turnovers that kind of created great field position opportunities to Mississippi Valley, but I think we get right back on track today. And big play Zay, looking for another one for him today.
Also, you're predicting a score off special teams.
I'm predicting score on
I
special
like that,
teams.
Chuck. I like that. You know, I went out on a limb a few weeks ago. I think it was Alabama A&M, and I said, you know, we're going to blow this game away if defense scores. And defense scored. And I remember being on the sideline and bumping you and said, defense just scored.
Nostra Neely.
Yeah, it was the first quarter, and I think it was James Houston with that scoop and score, or somebody with it. You know, but these games run together. But I bumped you and I said, we're going to win big, Chuck, because defense scored. Because I knew offense was going to do what we do, but defense scored. So what you're telling me today is that if the special team scores,
blowout.
We're going to blow out.
Blowout. Neely Adamas, you got to love it, man. You got to love it.
Hey, do you remember the weigh-ins show with the brothers?
Yes.
And do you remember when the father was playing Negrodamus? He was man, classic black TV, man.
Classic black TV.
So yeah, you got to have the predictions. Chuck, what did we miss today, man? We covered so much on the pregame show, man. Nice segments outside. Hey, man, for the Soul Bowl, we got to go to the roof. We have been on the roof all year.
Yeah, we got to get on the roof for the Soul Bowl.
Yeah, you know what we might do if the weather's right, man, and praying for good weather. We might just set the studio up on the roof for the Super Bowl.
Man, that would be phenomenal. I would love to do that.
Yeah, let's just do the whole show.
The whole show from the roof.
Out there from the roof. Now, we do have one final segment for y'all. When we get ready to go out of the live show, we're going to run y'all an exclusive sit down that Charles, I always do Charles when he's professional, when he's playing with me as Chuck. Charles did an exclusive sit down with Texas Southern to talk about the inner workings of their program, getting ready to this matchup. So we are going to have that segment for y'all. So please sit back and enjoy that. But we're going to start wrapping up the live show because Chuck, what time we got? It is
we're looking
at 11:54.
Yeah, right and close to an hour before kickoff. Yeah.
Coach Prime and JSU Athletics. We have to get to the locker room and start doing some pre-mechanics for it. Straight from Tiger's Mouth World to BioSteel.
Yes, indeed.
And speaking of BioSteel, perfect time to mention our live shows sponsors for this week. Terrace Harris is the title sponsor of the Cochran Group. Cochran Law Firm. So for all your legal needs, you reach out to Terrace Harris right here in Jackson, Mississippi, but he's licensed all around. Cannot forget the restaurants of Bravo, Broad Street Bakery, and Sal and Mookish. Chuck, we should probably get some of those wings.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Last home game, we wanted up with Sal and Mookish, one of our sponsors, and Coach Sweet was with us.
Exactly.
Had a great time over some pizza there. So y'all make sure y'all support them. And cannot forget our long-time grandfather Claus been down with us. They won down with us before we went down with us. Me, Chambers, and Big Old Law Firm. I told
yeah, so in closing, as always, we always say we got a team by golly. We're going to fight by golly. We're going to win by golly. It's Charles Bishop. It's Neely. It's the pregame show here on the Black College Sports Network. Sit back, relax. We'll take a look at Butch Allsender and myself talking about Texas Southern, Jackson State.
Well, welcome to another episode of the pregame show. And of course, we scout the opposition. And of course, we had to bring on, I call him, he is the voice of Houston sports, Butch Allsender, 35 years of experience in the business, play-by-play voice of the Texas Southern Tigers. And of course, you see him week in, week out on the ESPN platform, broadcasting the Southwestern Athletic Conference games. Welcome into the pregame show, Butch.
Thank you, Charles. Glad to be here.
Yes, indeed. Well, a huge game this weekend, Texas Southern visiting the Jackson State Tigers. But I tell you what, this isn't your grandparents' Texas Southern. This Texas Southern team is very explosive. It's going to be a great game this weekend.
You know, I got to tell you, I'm just so happy for Coach Clarence Thomas and all the guys and just, you know, all the fans of TSU football. I mean, and I say this, and I know it's only been winning a couple of games, but what's different is you can see the hope. You know, you can see the progress. You can see what may be in the future. And there's so many people that have been working so hard over there trying to make this happen. You know, they've had some good coaches in there. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't clicked. And, you know, Coach McKinney came in and he had a plan of how he wanted to progress through this thing. And just to see them having some success on the field, you know, it's just great for the program. It's great for the school. I mean, and like I said, and I remember him telling me earlier this year, this is what he said, Charles. He said, if we could just get over the hump, if we could just win a game, then the guys would understand what it feels like to win, and that would carry over, and that's all we really need. And he was right. You know, they beat North America, whoever it was, and, you know, obviously that was not a high caliber opponent, but it allowed them to get a little taste of victory.
Exactly.
And then they beat Southern. And, you know, I mean, you said it right at the top. This is an explosive team now. They can beat you on the air. They can beat you on the ground. I mean, they are a team to be reckoned with. They're a force that people have to actually sit down and game plan against now.
Exactly. And when you talk about the resurgence of this Texas Southern football team, you mentioned a huge win over Southern that really opened the eyes of the SWAC fans to this Texas Southern team. But it was quarterback Andrew Body who has really taken the SWAC on by storm. He came on in the game against Rice, and he has not looked back.
No, he hasn't. And I know it was one of those things where the coaching staff understood what they had in Andrew Body, but it became a question of how quickly do we rush him? Do we just throw him out there? Do we just put him out there? And you're right, he got his feet wet against Rice, and the young man showed that, hey, this level is not beyond me. You know, he said, I can deal with this and I can handle this. And after that, you know, he comes in, he's like probably about 200 pounds, but he looks a little, smaller than that. But he's an exciting young man to watch. He gets it done with his arm. He can run the football, and I think he was leading rusher last week. Yeah. I mean, he can do it both ways, and the confidence that it's funny how that young man gets in the huddle and everybody gets confident. You know, they have that feeling now of we can get it done. You know, we can move the football, and the defense is playing pretty well also.
Defense is playing pretty well. When we take a look at the weapons that Andrew Body has at his disposal, he has the number 2 receiver in the SWAC in Keelan Davis, 37 receptions, 682 yards, but he's averaging close to 100 yards a game receiving.
Yeah, and he's got Keelan has been outstanding, and he's been doing a great job. Jaron Johnson also has been doing a really good job for them, and I like Jonathan Giles. Is always going to be one of those targets that you can count on when you really need something. And that's another young man who has been around winning programs before. You know, so that was a big part of it. I really feel like starting to put the pieces together of guys who've been around winning programs, who understood what it took to win. And, you know, that could start to rub off on some of the guys who really, you know, if you've been around there for the last few years, you know, they just really hadn't had that feeling that we can go out there and really compete for 4 quarters.
Sure.
And I think now that they realize if we don't beat ourselves, if we don't make silly penalties, you know, come the 4th quarter, there's a good chance we're going to be in this ball game.
Yes, indeed. And you touched on it. Texas Southern's defense has been playing much better of late. They're led on the defensive side of the ball by Michael Badiho, who has done a tremendous job, I think, in providing pressure. And, of course, the stalwart, Julian Marcantel. He has continued to make plays for this Texas Southern football team.
Yeah, I love Julian. You know, it seems like he's been there 100 years. You know,
right.
He's just, you know, he had the injury and it's kind of like, but he's one of those guys. You know, we did the opening game against Prairie View. And he had an interception and a fumble recovery, and he was just all over the field. I mean, he's an outstanding player, and he's one of those guys you can look at who always knows where everybody's supposed to be. You know, he can make different plays, and I think he's a special kind of player for them. I mean, he really is. He's been there long enough now, like I said, to where he kind of knows how things are supposed to work. And which buttons to push at what time. And he just really helps to spark that defense. And Badijo's been really good up front, you know, and Cooper. I can't think about his first name right now. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Tariq Cooper.
Tariq Cooper, yes.
Doing things lately that is just really, really nice to see. And that's been another thing, too. You know, this team couldn't get off the field before. We did a couple of games in the spring, and you know, I can't remember. It was whoever it was. They were in a situation where they were scoring offensively, but they could not get off the field. I mean, they got down early by like 17-0. They came back to make it 17-14, and then the other team scores just like that. So playing good defense a lot of the time has to do with forcing some of those 3 and outs You want to force turnovers, obviously, but also if you can force a team to go 3 and out, your defense won't get worn out. I mean, that's just it in a nutshell.
Yeah, timely stops has been an issue in the past, but Texas Southern, like you said, they're starting to get off the field a little bit more nowadays, and you get that offense back on the field. It can create some matchup nightmares for teams.
Yeah, last Saturday we did Grambling at Florida A&M, and the Grambling defense, you'll never know, what could have happened in that game because the Grambling defense was on the field the entire first half. Right. And then in the second half, Grambling moved the ball some, but by then it was too late. So, and that's what Texas Southern is starting to avoid now. They can get people out of there in 3 and out. And I remember talking to Coach McKinney after the Rice game. You mentioned that earlier. And he's like, they really felt like they could have won that game. Literally, it was a couple of possessions that stopped them from winning that ball game. They could have won that game very easily. So it's funny you touched on that because that's when the confidence started to happen and they started to turn the page, I think.
Definitely a different ball club. When you take a look at this matchup, Texas Southern and Jackson State, you need 2 freshman quarterbacks going against each other and 2 of the better quarterbacks in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. From your vantage point, what are some things that you think Texas Southern needs to do to get the W in Jackson this weekend?
Man, it's going to be tough, Charles. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. From what I've seen, I would imagine even as well as Texas Southern is playing right now, it will be tough. That defense that Coach Thurman has going on over there, it's just incredible. I mean, we've done Jackson State 2 or 3 times this year, and each time it is just relentless the pressure they make. So I really feel like they have to come out there and Coach understands the game plan, but somehow they're going to have to move the sticks, and they can't be like one-dimensional trying to do it. They're going to have to be very balanced, find some kind of way to run the ball, have some success running the football, but then again, spreading it out enough to where, the Tigers from Jackson State can't just pin their ears back and come after the quarterback, because that's another good advantage. And those are two things I think that are really similar about Shedeur Sanders and Andrew Body, is that they both can get in the pocket and they can move around and they can get out of there if they have to try to make a play happen. And they can do it with their legs. But both young men do a really good job of keeping their eyes downfield. They're not necessarily scrambling out of the pocket in a panic mode. They're looking to throw the ball, and when it's not there, then they'll end up running the ball. But both these young men, for young guys, I mean, have really, really so impressive, their presence on the field, how calm they are under the pressure. I mean, they've been really impressive with that. So I think they have a lot in common. The Shedeur, his completion percentage, I mean, last time I looked, it was almost 70%.
Yeah.
I mean, that is crazy, man. And then you think about he's a freshman completing 70% of his passes. That means he's making good decisions. He's not forcing the ball where he shouldn't force the ball. He's not taking unnecessary chances. And when you do that, you give your team more opportunities. And it also, like I said, it builds confidence in your teammates. And we had a chance to, we had a chance to talk to Coach Prime earlier. And one of the things he talked about was the fact that when Shedeur came during the spring, not only did he get to learn the offense, but he got to meet the other guys. He got to mesh with these guys. They found out what he was about. He found out what they were about, and it allowed him in some ways to be a leader. And so that was a tremendous advantage to get in early and, be in that situation. But, kind of like what you said, I love the fact that, and I think Texas Southern, I think they're looking forward to the challenge.
I'm really sure they are.
Because now they're very confident, they think they can beat anybody, and that's what you want out of your team. That's exactly what you want. You want them to go in there thinking they can win and find some kind of way to win. And I think that's where they are now. And I just think they're going to keep building for the rest of the year. And then for the start of the next year, people are going to have to look at Texas Southern football a lot differently.
It's so true. So true. It should be a great one this weekend. Texas Southern visiting Jackson State. 2 Texas gunslingers, Shedeur Sanders from the Canton, Texas area, and Andrew Body from the Corpus Christi area. So it should be a phenomenal game. Butch, man, I always thank you for coming here on the pregame show. You are the voice of Houston sports and a mentor of mine. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, Charles. And you know where to find me, man, anytime.
As always, thanks for joining us here on the Pregame Show.